One of the things that we can do in business to maximize our efficiency is to find something that works and then keep on doing it. And that means that we can put a system into place. In other words, if we find a system of events that works, that tends to build a customer relationship, then why not do that over and over again? And if we're going to do that over and over again, then why not make it easier to do? In other words, to put that whole system of events into place instead of having to do each step. So that's what we do when we create an activity series. So for example, say that I wanted to develop a relationship with a new customer. And so I decided the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send them a letter. After I send them the letter, I'm going to give about 4 days for them to get the letter, receive the letter, and get a chance to read it. And then I'm going to make a follow-up call on the letter. And then about a week after that follow-up call, I'm also going to send them an email, just something interesting. And that's going to be 3 contacts then that will start to build this relationship with this customer. And what I want to do is I want to just call that my follow-up routine. And I want to put my follow-up routine onto any customer that I choose, and I want to do it very quickly. So what I need to do is I need to create a template, and the template is called an activity series. So what we're going to do is we're going to position our mouse pointer over Schedule and click Schedule, and then come down to Manage and position over Manage, and you'll see that it will open up. And then I'm going to go over to Activity Series Templates and click on Activity Series Templates. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new activity series. You could edit an existing activity series. In fact, ACT already has a couple in. They've got a new customer and a new prospect list, but I just want to show you how to create your own because these can be very powerful. Click on Next, and whatever we want to call it, I'm going to call it my follow-up routine. And it's going to be public. It doesn't need to be a private type of thing. And description, I could put that in if I want to, but follow-up routine pretty much tells the story. So I click on Next. Now notice so far it doesn't have anything in it. But then we just start adding things in, just like we would any other type of appointment. So I click on Add and say, okay, what was the first thing I wanted to do? I wanted to send a letter. So that's a to-do. And it all starts with what's called the anchor date, which is the date that I'm going to start this, or the date that the whole series kicks off when I kick it off. So the start date, the anchor date, would be at 0 days. That should be the anchor date for the first thing that I'm going to do. So at 0 days after the anchor date, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a letter. So if we click on the drop down under Regarding, sure enough, there's Send a Letter. If it wasn't there, of course, we could add it. Okay, and the priority, we might want to make all these medium. They're not necessarily high. We don't know where this relationship is really going yet, but we might want to make them all medium. Do we want to set an alarm? Probably not on an activity series, but we could if we wanted to. And then click on OK. So that's one thing. The next one, I'm going to click on Add. What was I going to do after I sent him the letter? I'm going to call them. Notice it's already on call, which is kind of nice. And I'm going to call them about 4 days after the letter. So 4 days after the anchor date, I'm going to give them a call. Okay, what am I going to call them about? Just a follow-up. So select follow-up. And what about the priority? And we'll just make it medium, make these things blue. And I'm going to click on OK. Then, what am I going to do after that? Well, about a week after I make the call, then I'm going to send them an email. So I'm going to click on Add, and this is going to be a to-do, and it's going to start about a week after I make that call, so that's going to be, what, 11, 12 days, something like that. So I can either roll it up or I could just type it in, say 12 days after the anchor date. Then what am I going to do? I'm going to send them an email. And then click on OK.